Hello, my friends, and welcome back to the Secrets to Alignment podcast with your host, Savannah Schaffer. I am so excited for you guys to listen to this podcast because this is a conversation that I have been just waiting to share with you guys, waiting to even film with my girl, Shir. She's a really, really good friend of mine, and she has built an incredible brand on social media, an incredible business on social media. And along that journey, she has faced so much internal upgrading, and I have been able to experience that really up close, one-to-one with her. And after seeing the growth that she has had, I feel like so many of us have gone through similar experiences, whether that's sitting on a folder full of drafts and not posting them because we're worried about what others will think, we're letting fear hold us back in some way, shape, or form, or maybe we're comparing ourselves, we're not protecting our energy enough. There are so many different avenues that we go down in this podcast episode, and I am so pumped for you guys to listen to it. If you have any questions, if you have any takeaways, please send them our way. We are always here to connect with you, and I am so excited to jump right in. Welcome back to the Secrets to Alignment podcast with your host, Savannah Schaffer. I am so grateful that you are here to join us in this beautiful connection between Shir and I. Shir and I have been connected now for a couple years, and after working together, I just knew that she was somebody who I wanted to bring onto the podcast. She is such a light. She's actually a business mentor in the Bay Area. She's also the host of the podcast After You Decide. She has helped hundreds of women build and grow their businesses, and she is someone people just naturally gravitate towards for guidance and support. And when we started working together, she had all of the knowledge, she had all of the receipts, she had plenty of clients already, but she wasn't showing up publicly yet. And since then, she has built a presence online that is fully unapologetically her, now created her podcast, and has been attracting dream clients of hers that she gets to help improve in so many different ways because of that. Her dedication and her self-awareness seriously has blown me away, and it's what has attracted me to continue our relationship for over a year. It's been so long that we've been working together in different ways, and I'm just so grateful to know her. So welcome, Shir.
Thank you, Sav. I'm so happy to be here and just in your presence and in each other's energies. What a amazing opportunity to chat with you. And yeah, I'm just excited for people to really hear us and hear just the magic and really see something for themselves as well. So just stoked to be here.
Yay. All right, let's go ahead and jump right on in. So, Shir, you have helped so many different women build businesses, and you're genuinely incredible at doing so. Can you give us a little bit of a snapshot of what you do and who you love to help?
Yeah, I'll give you the version that is so not appealing on paper, aka I help people who are not taking action on the goals that they have, specifically in business, and actually build from that point. So, what I saw is a lot of women, specifically, and men, are really wanting this big goal for themselves in their business, in their entrepreneurship life, in their pivot life. And what was happening is they just weren't taking action. And it wasn't that they needed any more information, it was just that they needed more implementation. And so it got me really understanding, well, why are people not taking action? And so that's where I harbor in on. And it's a dream to be helping my clients build their businesses, pivot their businesses, shift really the identity that they once had into their new season. And yeah, it's been incredible. And I'm so grateful.
I love that you're so action oriented. Like you are a no bullshit kind of person, and you are someone who is always just like, get out of your comfort zone, go after it, like make this shit happen that you want. And I feel like our energies together are like so complementary because I'm a lot on like the mindset side of things. And then you're on like the let's make this happen. And then when you put those two together, it literally is magic. And actually, for the last couple months, Shir has actually been coaching me as well. So her and I are like both coaching each other. She worked with me privately, one to one for several months. And then after, we just enjoyed working together so much. And we could tell how much of like a perfect duo this connection was. And so she helps me with different things in my business. And then I get to support her in her business. And it's just like a match made in heaven. And I love, love, love that we have got to do this together. I'm so curious to know, how did you find me, Shir? How did you find me? And what made you actually decide to go forward with coaching? Because it was not like a instantaneous yes.
No,
Yes.
not
So
at all.
give us the tea.
So my very first ever paying client for mentorship, I have a background in entrepreneurship. I was a photographer. I then went into social media strategy for companies. So I was creating content as a creator, and then, of course, into the strategy side, which led me to coaching and mentorship and being a consultant. But the way that Sav and I really got in touch was I think we have quite a few mutuals, probably from your time in network marketing.
Mhm.
And I saw you one day like post something on your story, and I wish you and I could like figure out what it was. Because clearly it really, really called me forward and called me out. And I remember it was March of 2024, but my very first client, I'm sorry, it was April of 2024. And my very first paying client for mentorship was in March of 2024. And so I knew you were a
Mhm.
coach. And I basically reached out to you and we had a call, and I was like, I can do this on my own. I'm good. I'm good. Like, I'm fine. And up until that point, my Instagram was on, it was public,
Mhm.
but starting in 2023 through 2024, but I had only been known as like a creator, a content creator, UGC, and I did not even talk about my coaching until several months later. And so we had this conversation, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna do this on my own. I'm good. And then 8 months went by. And I
Yeah.
was like, and you and I were keeping each other on each other's radar and all of this stuff. And then I remember I was at one of my final collaborations I did with a property down in Southern California. And I was like, hi, like I've had 30 clients and I want to talk to you about bringing this to social media and pivoting my presence to be more of a coach and mentor and consultant. And you were like, okay, down. And we had a call, I think literally the week later, and we talked first about a group program of yours, and then I was like, I think I need you one to one. And that was the
Mhm.
beginning of our, like, I want to call it friendship, but it really was
Yeah.
so much more than that. And
Mhm.
so we just brought my coaching into the hands of social media,
Yeah.
and I really had to shift. We'll talk about mindset, we'll talk about the mental
Yes.
side of things, but I had to bring this coaching side of things into social media. Otherwise, I was just going to continue signing people in the DMs,
Totally.
but no one knew who Shir is. All of this magic I've now brought to, at the time, 30 clients. Now it's over 100. But that's how we really
Yeah.
connected.
Yeah, and you've built just so much credibility over that time period. What has it felt like now to be sharing it publicly and actually have people receive it and get the results? Like, how do you feel being the one that's able to facilitate that for others?
I think I'll never forget something that you gave me, which was why are we creating so many rules about how it needs to
Mm,
be? And so once I started kind of playing the game of, well, there are no rules because no one has done this like Sheer. And maybe there's thousands, millions of competitors, so-called competitors. Um, I think we can all learn from each other. There's 8 billion people in the world, plenty of people to go around. And for me to be fully like seen on social media in the way that my clients get to see on a daily basis
Mm-hmm.
has just been really unique. And it's also repelled a whole lot of people, which is a part that I think people get really afraid of.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a big reason why I didn't want to be seen on social media because it feels really safe. It feels
Yeah.
really okay to like, I'm good without putting myself out there.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't even understand. I mean, you understand, but most people get really worried about, oh my gosh, well, what are people going to think? Well, people are going to talk regardless. And you
Yeah.
just have to basically not care.
Mm-hmm.
But in order to not care, there was so much work I had to do surrounding that and
Yeah.
surrounding how valuable my work was.
I
Still
completely
is.
agree. And I feel as though I think that throughout the entire time that we have been working together, it's been this trustful that we've had to have and just like leaning fully into
Yeah.
trusting yourself, trusting the universe, knowing that you're being guided. You're also learning so much throughout this process. I mean, entrepreneurship as a whole is just, it's a spiritual journey itself. And you do face all of these fears, especially when you are putting your magic out into the world. You know, you have all of these doubts that can come up, and this comes up for every single one of us. You know, will people like what I have to offer? Will they be interested? Will they buy from me? What will people think? What will people from my high school or my middle school say about me? Like, and then we run into people even in person too. It's like there's so many, it can be such a confronting experience, but it really is laid out for us perfectly for us to really rise above and to lead with compassion and kindness and inspiration and as love and light just being the path forward. Like that's really all that we can do. I am so curious to know in the beginning of when we were working together, you know, you were sitting on like a camera roll of content. You had a drafts folder that nobody was seeing. What do you feel like was going on there?
For me, what was going on when I had drafts, I'm going to talk about like the before and after.
Please do.
I think that we have no idea what on earth can happen and how your life can change. And so it, like I keep saying, it felt really safe. When it feels really safe, you have basically zero reason to do it
Mm-hmm.
unless you know the alternative and you know what could happen. And there's a concept I teach all my clients, which is what is the alternative? Is to stay hidden, to stay with this skill set. In my world, it's mostly skill sets and never share that. Or do we get a little bit uncomfortable, package it up in a way that makes sense, that will make you money, that will make you have new clients, that will give you the fulfillment? But for me, I couldn't understand because I had 30 clients without posting a single time on Instagram beyond my content.
Yeah.
And so what you really opened up for me was like, you have something magical in your business. And if honestly, Shir, if you don't put this out there, you're going to stay at the rate that you want or that you have right now. Is that the path that you want? And I was like, no. And so we had to really unbox that. And then when I started putting myself out there through like what would happen, let me just like paint this picture very clearly. I would draft Instagram stories and I would literally click save as draft. And I would have probably 30 of them sitting in my drafts,
Yeah. And then
untouched.
you
And
would
I would
tell
tell
me on a
you,
call.
and I would
And I
tell
would
you,
be like, bitch, go post it right now. That is
no.
choosing.
And that
It's
goes back
choosing.
to it goes back to this element of we think that there are these rules. We're
Yes.
so obsessed with frameworks. My clients who start working with me come to me because they think that I have some framework. And I'm like, bro, you are the framework. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you are the one who is going to choose on the method in which I can guide you. I will hold your hand, I will guide you, but I don't have some secret sauce that is going to work for every single person on earth.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and that's just the way that I operate in my ethicalness.
Yeah.
Every human is unique. I know that that's similar for you. And
Yes.
so when I was able to understand, and maybe it's my analytical brain, I don't know, maybe it's my like part expressive, part analytical brain, but I'm over here like, I need to know what is on the other side. And you opened that up for me because of your experience through the several years that you have been on social media.
Yeah.
And for reference, I saw that with content creation. I saw that with the work that I was doing for other companies, but I never understood how I was able to now pivot my entire presence into my coaching. So
Yeah.
you opened that up for me.
Yes.
And what did it cause? I mean, it caused me to attract new clients. It caused me to really attract the most aligned clients,
Yeah.
some of which have worked with me for over 2 years. So it's pretty amazing.
That is so awesome. Okay, so I'm curious to know, have you always been somebody who's had like really big ambitions? Like as a young girl, like did you see yourself getting to this place? Do you see yourself going beyond? Like did you always know that you were meant to do something impactful or significant in this world?
I always knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur.
Okay.
I probably like if you would ask my parents, they would say from age 4, like
Okay.
this girl has been destined to be an entrepreneur.
Love that.
In terms of impact, yes, but I had no idea how, honestly, and this is a little controversial, so bear with me. I think we underestimate the amount of impact we can make. For
Oh,
reference,
totally.
I have met three total of my clients. Of my over 100 clients I have served, I've met three in person.
It's crazy.
None of that would have happened if social media was not a thing.
Wow, how intriguing is that?
So, we just totally underestimate how much of an impact we can have. And I talk about like how I always wanted to be an entrepreneur, but I think there are also entrepreneurs who have no idea what is waiting for them on the other side. There are thousands, millions of people who have a private practice who are not on social media, who are not meeting with people, who are not in conversation with people. And I have a lot of clients who don't run their business on social media. And the other way to be visible is to go and meet with people, every person in your network. But I think there are a lot of people who have private practices, example, who are not out there and being visible and connecting with people.
Hmm.
And they're okay with it. But then there's a plethora of other people who have no idea what's on the other side.
Yeah.
And I just really, as somebody who was very worried about pivoting the way that I was showing up in my business to be from the surface level down to the Mariana Trench now, where I get to serve and impact hundreds of people, that is something that I don't think would be possible. And had I known as a young kid, no, I didn't know what was possible.
Right.
But now it's basically a game of how far can I go?
Totally.
I mean, realistically, like
Yeah.
that's a really, and I know that you feel that way too.
I think that like every single person that I attract has had this internal knowing of like, I am going to do something way beyond average. Like, I am going to be someone who is either supporting many people, impacting many people, being seen on a big stage, like in some capacity. Like, we have really huge dreams, big goals. We have such huge ambitions. Just like you were saying, that's a lot of the people that you tend to help. Same for me. Like, the types of women who just know internally, like, I'm not meant for a regular life, and they want freedom and they want impact and they want luxury and they want presence and calmness. They want to live their life to the fullest. And that takes a certain caliber of person. It also takes a certain caliber of confidence. And I would like to know, how has your internal work impacted the external for you, and specifically your confidence and the way that you show up on socials?
Sure. I've always very much exuded confidence to other people. People come to me for problem solving. People come to me as somebody who's going to tell them the truth. They come to me as somebody who wants, really, like you said, not the BS.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody who's willing to see far past where they currently at and literally take them there, whatever that means. I'm not even only talking about clients, I'm talking about really anybody in my life would say that. But none of that mattered if I was not confident in my abilities.
Yeah.
And the way that I honestly became confident in my abilities was I understood the magnitude of the work I was doing. Where, I mean, ripple effects that you helped me understand. I had clients who started programs, and you really helped me think about, okay, well, this program is going to help this person, who's then going to help this person become this. And so our work is no longer about, and I joke about this with my clients, like, no one cares how many calls you offer somebody. No one gives a shit. And so because of that reason, I started to understand, okay, it's not the deliverables, right? This is everything I teach my clients. But for me, none of it mattered until I was not confident and aware of truly the impact I was making, and understanding that, as morbid as this is, one day we're not going to be here.
Mm-hmm.
And we get to be the vehicle between now and when the universe decides that it is not our time anymore and our time has completed, really, as sad as that is, but it's the reality. So, what are you going to do as the vehicle to support? Because it's really easy to go home and watch Netflix. It's also really easy to come home after a beautiful long day of meetings with clients and actively choose to be going to bed in such gratitude. It's a
Mm-hmm.
choice. And you and I, as entrepreneurs, we have to wake up every day and choose, do we want this? And if not, then what is the alternative?
For
I
sure.
think that's really beautiful.
Yeah, you really do get to choose your hard. And yeah, I think that that's needed. It's needed to actually reflect on.
Yeah.
Okay, so for you throughout this journey of growing your business, of serving so many different individuals, where do you feel like you have had to really let go of any fears or limiting beliefs so that you could step into this place of leadership in order to guide others?
When I started being more visible as a coach on social media, I had to let go of, um, I just made a podcast episode about this, but I had to let go of what people knew me as. And for reference, for those who don't know, I was a travel content creator. I created content on my travels first on a private account, and then I went public and just started working with a lot of brands, even with a small following. And I had to go from this perfect, curated, because that's the content I was creating, right? I would be invited to these places and be asked to create 8 stunning videos. And so I went from doing that all the way to suddenly sharing about the work I do with my clients.
Mm,
And this element of well, how do I become more visible to attract those people? But the biggest element here was the fact that my entire world and honestly, my goals shifted from just being a content creator. But I had to let go of being willing and the identity of people are gonna not stay. People are not gonna want to be sold to. People are not gonna want to hear about how much success you're having. And with coming from a content creator side of things, for me, the biggest reason why I decided to step into mentorship, other than watching people not take action, was because I was ready for more. It was no longer aligned with the biggest of goals that I had because I was only being judged on the content I was creating and the numbers that it brought.
Yeah.
But behind the scenes, I was having so many conversations with people, but being visible, I had there's no other choice.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to allow myself to do that.
Okay. In your own business with attracting clients, I feel like one of the biggest things that every single business owner has to do at some point is let go of the numbers, let go of how many clients and how much we're charging and all of those things, and switch our focus onto the impact that it's actually going to make. Because when we're just chasing numbers, it's like that number will just always continue to increase. We can always take on more. We just want to help the next person. Really, we want to get the next number into our business. But that's where we have to make that conscious choice to switch from, oh, I just want to serve X amount of people to, I want to make this type of impact. And it's not really about quantity at that point, it's more so about quality and the people
Yeah.
that we're attracting and the impact and the depths to which we can support and facilitate this incredible transformation for them.
Yeah.
How do you feel like switching your focus from numbers into simply like what you are delivering them has impacted your business and also like just your heart and soul in general?
Yeah. My first thing is kind of with the last question that you asked me, it was I had to let go of the numbers because there's so much out of your control on social media and
Ooh, yes.
so much out of your
That was
control.
an era.
That was an era. Um, so much out of our control. For me, I'll never forget there was a very specific time where I hit an income goal that you and I had set
Yes.
and I reached it and I was like, Sav, this doesn't feel any different. And
Yeah,
that was the day I realized that it's honestly no longer about how much you can make.
totally.
It's what are you attracting? Who are the people you are attracting? And I had to go through phases of being okay with honestly stepping up the caliber of client I was attracting. I've been so blessed to attract some of the most incredible people. And even after our time working together, like are just succeeding. But I had to understand that no matter what amount, number, people, it was always going to be a game of, for me, if I kept relying on those numbers, it would be, it's never enough.
Yep.
So I had to take a look inwards at my business and understand, okay, if it's never going to be enough, then who are the people I genuinely love to serve? Who are the people who love to work with me? And I pivoted my entire business to only focus on those people.
Yeah.
And I've coached enough people at this point to know that you will forever be unhappy if you serve clients that you do not appreciate and who don't appreciate you back.
Mm-hmm.
You will, no matter what. And that's like a take that some people will argue. I live in Silicon Valley. Like people will argue, well, it doesn't matter if they're paying you $1 million a year. I could argue that,
Mm-hmm.
right? I'm not there. But I mean, it's similar for you. Probably if I would ask you, well, would you rather work with 100 aligned clients or one who's paying you $1 million?
Right.
And for some people, it would be, I'll take it regardless.
Mm-hmm.
But I think when your mission is so much bigger than that, and you know, and you have experienced what aligned clients are, clients who appreciate the work that you are bringing them, clients that you love to serve for whatever reason. Maybe you love how their brain works. There's thousands of reasons you could love a client. But until you don't realize that, then it really just, the money comes. It does. And the whole method of pricing all plays into this. But as someone with a very strong personality like yourself, we can't like lie. Can't lie about
Totally.
not enjoying our work. And
Yeah.
there were times in my business where I started projects and I launched offers that were not 100% aligned. They were aligned at the time of launching, but I pivoted. And knowing the capability to pivot and shift has been the thing that has kept me going because you can always shift.
Yeah.
Just like I have so many times.
Yeah. Same. Same. Plenty
So
of times.
it just
And,
gives you really, it's really liberating to know that like we could change, but the one constant here is you and me.
mm-hmm.
We are the vehicle.
Yeah.
And so what are we going to do with the vehicle? When it gets a little scratch and a little dent, we're going to get it fixed. Or we're going to move
Mm-hmm.
forward. Why would we now shut down the whole car and scrap it and throw it in the dump?
Totally.
So I love that element as
What's
well.
interesting too is I feel like in this world of entrepreneurship, like as you're even talking about all of these different all of these different situations that you've gone through throughout this time period of being an entrepreneur, we talk a lot about, I had to look inside my business and I had to take a look at my business and all these things. But I honestly think that you could literally replace the word business
With
with
you.
yourself.
Yeah.
Like I had to take a look inside. I had to take a look inside myself. And that is really where a lot of the holes are in the bucket. If you feel as though you have so much to offer, you have so much to bring to the table, but there's something inside of you that is just quietly whispering in your ear. Like, what if it fails? What if it doesn't go anywhere? What if nobody cares? What if nobody wants to buy the thing that I'm selling? What if I'm just like everyone else in this space? What when you get stuck in comparison, when you're scrolling through social media constantly and consuming all the time people in your industry, it's like you can really water down the magic that we have to offer. And that's the reason why throughout the time period that we work together, I just wanted to continue to highlight what you bring to the table, not what your fucking business brings to the table. It's what you bring to the table because each and every one of us are extremely unique. We have something special to offer to the people who we are surrounded by. It's not even that our business is the gift or the offer is the gift. We are the gift. And I just want every single person to remember that. Like, without anything to sell, we bring so much to the table. I remember through our time like working together, I gave you this one analogy where I said, what if you made the best guacamole? You had all of like the best ingredients in there. It was like the most high quality guacamole, and you brought it to a party and nobody wanted to eat your guacamole. You would just sit there and be like, well, I'm gonna enjoy all the guacamole myself and like so fucking be it. Whatever, you guys don't want my guacamole. I don't really give a fuck because it's the best one and like who cares? I think that when it comes to business, a lot of times we can get so hurt over the fact that we don't think somebody wants what we have to offer. But when you remember over and over and over again, and you're reminded, you have the best. Like you have the best thing here. You are the magic. If people do not want the magic, that's not about you, it's about them.
Has
If they're
nothing
not
to do with
ready,
you.
if they're not ready to receive the medicine, then that's has nothing to do with you. It has something to do with them. It's where they're at in their journey. And I think that the more that you can show your show off your magic in the most authentic and grounded way possible, I think that that's where people truly get to understand and feel the depth of the transformation that is available to them when they decide to get into your world or get into your offers or get into your energy, period. Hi, beautiful. If this podcast episode is really resonating with you right now and you're just feeling so seen and understood, and you know that you want to have these kinds of breakthroughs, you're ready for more in your life. You're ready to have more freedom, more fulfillment, more purpose, and truly step into the reality that you have always dreamt of being in. I am calling you in as my soul sister to join me in one-to-one mentorship. This is for the girls who know they are meant for more, who know deep down inside that they are meant to live a life of luxury, freedom, and so much joy. If you're ready to take your business or your career to the next level, have more balance in your life, I want you to click the link down below to apply to work with me. I am only offering this to the women who are listening to this podcast right now, and the spots are going to fill very soon. We are only opening up 2 positions. I will get in contact with you and we will chat all about if this is a right fit for you. We'll do a call together, and I would love to connect with you if you truly feel that call within you. Sending you so much love, and I will see you in the rest of this episode.
Yeah. It's interesting. First of all, the guacamole analogy is something that I use in my brain consistently. Um, but
The guacamole
this
analogy.
element, this element of this goes back to the conversation about money. Of course, it has an impact. Absolutely. 100%. It absolutely drives some people forward. However, I knew that my business is my business, but my business has pivoted dramatically in the past even 3 years. Like, so I knew that it was no longer, after a few months of working together, I understood that it was no longer, well, what are we pivoting in the business? No, what are we pivoting inside Shir?
Yeah.
It was like, okay, I can throw out an offer. I can put out an offer. I can now sign a few clients. But the shift from, again, from content creator to consultant is a shift that did not, it's not even, you can't even compare like apples to oranges even. It's like, it's apples to like zebras.
Mm-hmm.
Because they have such different weight and different goals. But I had to work with myself to allow myself to go through that.
Mm-hmm.
And I almost kind of think of it like if you ever done Pilates on a reformer, there's a spring.
Yeah.
And it's like that spring keeps calling you back. It's
Yeah,
like
the resistance.
pulling, the resistance. And there was so much resistance for me. And I knew if I wanted the impact that I desired, I had to work against the resistance.
Yeah.
Because there was no other way to go about it for me.
What did that actionably, like, what did the action steps look like for you? Like, what was it that you did after you understood, okay, I need to make this shift? What were the actions that like were happening in the physical world? Whether that was like posting the drafts or doing the journaling on it or talking with me in a session. Like, what did it look like for you to quote unquote work through these fears that were holding you back or these limiting beliefs?
No one's gonna like hearing this. Um, Number one was like identification of why the shift is needing to happen. Because for me, it had to happen. It had to happen because of the goals I had. And there literally was option A, stay where you're at, option B, work on this. Utilize the proof that's in front of you. But actionably, what did it look like? Honestly, again, no one's gonna like this, but just actually putting that into action, doing the things that really I hated doing, like
Mm-hmm.
posting my drafts, like doing that talking head video. And I knew I had to accept that I was not going to be the most perfect curated version, but I also had to trust that that is going to work.
Mm-hmm.
And I also had to trust in myself that if it didn't work, whatever that work meant, I would have the capability to shift and pivot and analyze the data.
Yes, I would say that perfectionism and curated perfect content, I personally believe that that is one of the biggest disconnectors
Absolutely.
with us and the people who we want to serve. Because the more real that you show up in, like the realness of you, the authenticity, all of it, like when you decide just to be completely vulnerable and stop with the fucking filters, like physically, like face to camera, but also just like mentally, before you backspace the caption or before you change what you were gonna say or before you take out the cuss word or whatever it is that you want to, kind of shield. Like when we stop putting any sort of filter on us, that is when we actually attract the people who are meant to be in our world. And that's something that I feel like this is the year of me. I practice doing that uh internally and externally outside of social media last year. Then this year I've really decided I am going to show up fully as me. I've been continuously working to this point that I am at now, but like at this point I know that every single time that I open myself up just a little bit more, it allows one connection piece. And it can be the smallest things or the biggest things. When I share about my personal life, it ends up leading into something that ends up getting impacted in my business life at this point. Like I remember I posted about us selling our home and the move that I'm going through. And then all of a sudden someone drops in my DMs and they're like, oh my gosh, I'd love to see your house. And then the next thing is, I'd love to get into your membership too. And if I didn't talk to her about the house or if I didn't post the house, she probably wouldn't have reached out. It is every single time that we start to open that door. You and I always talked about it like this. Like it's just opening the door a little bit more, letting a little bit more of that light in. When you do that, you show people who you really are. And that is where people feel that match to your energy, to your frequency. And they're like, I want to work with that person because she gets me on a level that no one else seems to get me. And I'm sure there's plenty of people on social media that could, quote unquote, get her, but no one is showing
Showing that.
those things that
Yeah.
could connect them. So that's really like I feel like the vulnerability aspect of things is extremely important for us to attract those dream clients as well. As much as the authority is as well, I think that being the realest version of ourselves is truly where we get to like number one have so much fun, so much more fun when you're being yourself, but also be impacting people in a deeper level than we really thought was possible.
Right. And I think that for me, like, I'll never forget there was a very specific shift in content for me. And by the way, this is coming from somebody whose engagement dropped by literally 300%. My like negative, some people see plus 300%. No, 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 mine went minus 300% the day I started posting business content.
Yep.
And I never went back to that plus 300%. But I'll never forget the biggest difference in my content was, let's say I posted a photo of a coffee shop. After I made that pivot, after we opened that door up a bit, it was no longer a photo of a coffee shop. It was a photo of the coffee shop, but with a caption of what I'm doing that day, who am I serving that day, why I'm at the coffee shop, how much I love coffee shops. Yesterday, for example, I could have just posted this like 3 photos of about the coffee shop, and instead I actively chose even if it was short, I actively chose, oh, this is like, I'm auditing one of my clients' messaging on her sales page, and like, happy Wednesday. And even just that, it starts to get people to think, oh, well, that's interesting. What does she mean by that? You consistently start talking about that. People are going to be like, oh, well, I remember actually, I wonder what's wrong with my sales page. And
Mm-hmm.
so it's such a really interesting way, because being open about what you're doing is the gateway in which people are going to want to work with you. And the way that
Agreed.
I describe it to my clients is when people, nobody likes being sold to. Number one, no one likes being sold to. Unless you've like built a relationship with somebody, you're inviting somebody into it. But the reality is, I find so many connection points with other people that get us into a conversation naturally, that leads us into having a conversation about what their business is looking like
Mm-hmm.
naturally. Why? Because I'm interested, they're curious. And the analogy I talk about with my clients is, what feels better? Hey, Sav, like, thanks so much for connecting with me. I think you'd be a perfect fit for my program. How many of those like DMs have we gotten? Hi, so
Mm-hmm.
many. Or starting a conversation with Sav all about her daughter and where her daughter gets her adorable little clothing.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, they're hand-me-downs. Oh, no, wait. Are you into sustainability? Yes, same. Oh my gosh. I love that you don't buy like whatever, could go on and on. But
Totally.
you get into like having an actual conversation. And that, by the way, is the difference between, in my opinion, someone who is running a long-term ethical business versus somebody who is just in it for the quick cash.
Agreed.
And even the mentors that I look up to, who have been in this industry for 20 plus years, who totally see me as an ideal client, they will do the same thing. They will have a conversation with me about my skiing, or my like whatever, my gym outfits, and they'll just start having a conversation with me. They'll send me a voice note. And so what I really love is the fact that we took me from somebody who was, and aesthetics and branding and the way I show up is incredibly on brand for me, because I wake up and I get ready for the day. So that's part of me. But I also had to be okay with sharing what I'm doing at a coffee shop that day. Not only that it's pretty and cute, no one cares.
Mm-hmm.
Like, no one cares. And so I had to be okay with that, and doing the work to tell myself that I am safe to do it and I am safe to be seen.
Mm-hmm.
And because it is me and I'm the only constant here.
Yes.
So that was just a really beautiful shift for me.
What would you say to a woman she knows she already has the skills, she knows she has so much to offer, but she's continuing to get in her own way?
I would probably sit for a moment and understand the next several years of your life, and what literally draw out two paths. Like, this is an
Mm,
action step everybody can take. Draw out on a piece of paper. God forbid we like use pen and paper. I know you and I are pen and paper girlies, but
mm,
draw out two paths. Path number one is, if I stay where I am now, what will happen? Or path number two is, at the end of the little path, you can write the goal, whether that's income, impact, job, career, whatever it is, and start asking yourself, does the path that I'm on right now feel good? That I can envision myself doing it for the next 10 years? Or does the other one feel scary? And really drawing out what each part could happen. What could happen? I understand that we don't know what will happen, but what could happen?
mm-hmm.
And that becomes your reality. And one other thing that you helped me understand, because I did not see that second path in the details that I needed. But I started understanding, which even goes into like manifestation, as I understood that a lot of what I wanted was already here, which is really magical.
Yeah.
And I get emotional even like thinking about that.
Mm-hmm.
But if I thought that money would make me feel XYZ, we started understanding, well, Shir, you already feel that way.
Yeah, you already
You
have.
already have that.
Yeah.
People already trust you.
Yeah.
And it led me to wanting to be less obsessed with visibility and more obsessed with helping the people who were already in my world. So,
Yes.
as far as I'm concerned, as much as people love seeing numbers grow, until all 2,500 people in my audience do not feel impacted by me, and I don't know if I've told you this, Sav, but this has been like a recurring message I'm getting from the universe. Until all 2,500 people in my audience are impacted by me, there is zero reason for me to try and be more visible.
Mm.
Not to them.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's so because they're already here and everything I need is already here.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really beautiful because you stop outsourcing the fears, the desires.
Mm-hmm.
You stop looking for it. It's literally in front of you.
Yeah, yeah, I think that that's a really important thing to highlight. It's just like once you get to this place where you finally feel grounded in what you have to offer, you no longer are chasing.
Yeah.
You're no longer chasing the income, the clients, the numbers. You begin attracting. But for the longest time, we are stuck in those fears and the doubts, overthinking, overanalyzing. And from that place, we do chase. We're in scarcity. We're just absolutely clawing at anything and everything. And
Yeah.
once you get to this place where you're just like, I know what I have to offer. And I know that if anyone in my audience had a taste of it, they'd be absolutely amazed. It comes from this place of pleasure and just like, oh, like this is so fun for me to share about because I know I bring so much to the table and like I'd love for this person to experience what I have. And it's just so much more fun and airy and light. And that is the world that I want to be in. I don't want business to be this like dark, scary, you need to claw your way to the top. I want it to be like fun, an expression of me, like trusting my intuition, trusting the universe has got my back and like enjoying this process of entrepreneurship. There is enough people out there that are saying entrepreneurship is the hardest thing you'll ever fucking do and like they give it this rap that it's like the worst thing in the world, but actually it's like sculpting you
It's literally
into
molding you.
yeah, it is sculpting you into your highest potential if you decide to like go down that road with it instead of the opposite. I am so, so happy that we got to this place. Is there any last closing words that you'd like to let this person listening just know, hear, connect with you?
Yeah. I think in general, like the biggest takeaway, if I could like say the biggest takeaway in the past 2 years is that just like before social media, um, I was a very, very magnetic kid. My parents have told me that. And I don't say that as like my ego. I don't need no
No,
one to hype me
totally.
up. I was a very magnetic kid. And you helped me understand how that magnetism in my adult life has radiated. Every client of mine has felt that, whether
Mm-hmm.
that's the way I word things or that's the way that I speak. I have a very unique way of speaking that is incredibly natural to me, something that I don't even think about. And yet that is so magnetic. And so the biggest takeaway here was that I never had to now go find that.
Mm-hmm.
It was always in me. Just like what I tell my clients is everything they need is actually there,
Mm-hmm.
right? You can always sharpen the skill set, but no one can take away from you your story and your personality and your journey. And the second I started leaning on all three of those was when my entire skill set got sharper, my confidence got sharper, my ability to put myself out there, let alone on a podcast.
Totally.
You just start understanding that you've always had it in you, but you cannot do the work. You cannot expect it to come through without doing the work through people like yourself, people like
Mm-hmm.
myself, who naturally expand people. And I think that that's just really magical. So know that to anyone listening, that like there are people who actually are here on this earth to help with that
Mm-hmm.
and to support you and guide you. And you can always, always go back to what is the alternative? What's the alternative?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you so much, Shir. Seriously, this has been a beautiful conversation. And I feel like we really did get to explore like the high highs and the low lows, like the depths and the incredible mountaintops together. And I'm so grateful that you got to be here with me. And if anyone is listening to this and you guys are just feeling called, please connect with us. We are here always. I will link Shir's information down below. And yeah, our DMs are always open. We love getting into conversations about all of these topics that we talked on today. We love actually connecting with people who are listening. And yeah, we appreciate you guys so much for being here. Thank
Thank
you so, so
you.
much.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me and thanks for listening.
All right, bye guys.